Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and welcome to my casual solo progression series, where I'm starting a character from scratch and aiming to get to one of the first milestones in MapleStory Reboot, which is clearing Chaos Root Abyss. So, there's a few of these series already on YouTube, and I wanted to do something a little bit different because I've noticed that a lot of the progression series on YouTube are done by players who have already progressed quite far into their account, and I wanted to emulate a new player experience. So the series is mostly for new players and returning players who are overwhelmed by how much the game has changed. So there's a few things I'm going to do a bit differently for this series, so then any new players and returning players can watch this at pretty much any time and should be able to follow along and have an idea of how to progress in MapleStory. So I have a few restrictions like I mentioned before, and they are I will be playing this character with no links and no legion, meaning that I don't get any benefits that my account currently has. I also won't be participating in any of the events on this character, so then new players don't feel like they're missing out on anything. If I get any event things, then new players might have trouble following along. I won't be taking advantage of anything that comes on and off, including things like Maple Relay on this account, just to make it simple for anyone who's watching. As for my income, Mesos is really important in this game. Because I'm trying to treat this as like a new character, my only form of income will be coming from just whatever I pick up off the floor. Maple Tour, which I will go through in the later videos, and bossing when we get to it. I would also include Ursus, but because I'm in an Australian time zone, it's actually quite difficult for me to participate during double Meso time, so I'm going to not include Ursus for this series. So hopefully you guys enjoy this progression, and yeah, let's go straight into it. So for this character, I decided to go with a warrior, and I'm planning to make it into a paladin because I think they're pretty neat. If it's your first character and you're watching this series, I recommend you guys make a Karna first because it's objectively the best class to play in Reboot. It has amazing mobbing, it's really good for farming later on in the game, and it's overall just a really strong class. But personally, I would never play a Karna despite this because I'm not a big fan of its playstyle, and I really hate teleport in general. Otherwise, if you're planning to play this game as casually as I am going to be in my progression series, I suggest you guys play a class that you actually enjoy because you'll be playing it for a while. To get started, our first goal is to get to level 30, so we can get our second job advancement. And to be quite honest, there's not really that many different ways of going about this. You won't really miss out on anything doing it your own way. You can use the Maple Guide to get yourself around to level appropriate maps, and you can access the Maple Guide through the guide hotkey in your key bindings. I believe it's not assigned by default, so make sure you have it on your keyboard somewhere. You can also do various quests around your starting area, as they give good EXP as well. For my levels 10 to 15, I trained on the map Golem's Temple Entrance. Then once I hit level 15, I went to Golem's Temple 3 to get to level 20. If you can't get to these places that I'm training on from where your class starts, you can simply level up on the monsters around your class's starting area, as every starting area will have a various amount of monsters that range from levels 10 to 30. One place I do recommend training if you can get there is Pirion. Pirion is not a highly recommended place in any of the training guides because I think it's just too big for a lot of people's liking. Its XP rates are pretty decent, but the one benefit that you get from it is that they have an unusually high rate of dropping familiar cards. We won't be using the familiar cards at the moment, but they'll come in handy later down the line. I found that the last map of Pirion, called Gusty Peaks, has been a pretty good place to train. I actually trained a little bit at Elenia, as it was recommended by the Maple Guide, but I found that the EXP rates were just worse than Pirion, so I went back to Pirion. Also, a weird thing about this map is that it also spawns these portals, the gold portal and the wolf portal. Both of them teleport you to instances where you can get a nice amount of EXP. You can see for this one wolf portal, it gave me almost a full level. So they'll give you a nice EXP boost while training. As of recording this video, this is actually the first time I've seen these portals spawn in any map with monsters less than level 30. Once I hit level 30, I clicked on the light bulb on the side and it let me go to do my second job advancement. Most jobs will be able to complete the second job advancement just by using the light bulb. You won't need to travel anywhere, it should take you straight to where you need to go. Some classes don't even need to do anything, sometimes they just get their skills. But for me, I had to go to this map and pick up a couple of marbles and then give it to the NPC to get my second job. So from level 30 to about level 65, our main way of getting EXP will be from something called theme dungeons. So the first theme dungeon that I recommend players do is Fairy Academy. It's accessible by talking to either your job instructor, like I did in the video, or you can click on the light bulb and start the Fairy Academy quest. It should teleport you to Alenia, to a cat called Fancy, and you can accept his quest to go into the dungeon on the bottom left of the map, and you'll be able to progress through that storyline. The quests are pretty straightforward. Most of it is just killing mobs around the map or picking up things off the floor and talking to various NPCs. It won't take that long, and it will give us a fair amount of levels, and at the end of the quest it will give you some nice items, including equips that will give us a little bit more damage, and also 1 million misos, which is always nice. After completing the theme dungeon, I also recommend selling your etc. items to the NPC so we can keep our inventory clean. So after we finish Fairy Academy, we're going to make a quick detour before we go to the next theme dungeon. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the Rain Strait quest via the light bulb, which will teleport us to Rain, which is one of the starter towns in MapleStory. And before we start the quest, we're going to go to the quick move on the top left of the screen and teleport to Ardent Mill. So we're going to accept the quest on the left side from the guy that will give us professions, and after talking to him for a little bit, we will be able to talk to the NPCs on the bottom right, and they will teach us the two skills, herbalism and mining. So we won't be using these early on, but later as we play further into the game, we'll be able to harvest various rocks and flowers that are found on higher level maps. Also, if you're planning to solo progress on this character, you will inevitably need to have these skills anyway. So from here, it's a similar story as what we did with Fairy Academy. You can talk to the NPC in Rain and she will tell you to go to the far right side of town, and you'll be able to take a boat that will take us to the theme dungeon. The theme dungeon is also pretty straightforward. Again, it's a lot of talking to NPCs and killing mobs here and there. The only difference in this one that might trip up new players is this little part where you have to go fishing. It's not very intuitive. You gotta take the boat and go to this little patch on the top right above where the witch's house is, and you have to continuously fish until you get 5 whoppers, and then you can talk back to her. Otherwise, the rest of the theme dungeon is pretty straightforward, and once we complete this dungeon, it will give us a face accessory and a belt, which is really nice because we usually can't get those equips anywhere else early on. I also decided to Star Force these to get a little bit more stat for our training. And to do this, you just need to click on the little red hammer in your inventory and drag the item you want to Star Force into it. It's pretty cheap, and we just got another 1 million misos from completing the storyline, so we should have plenty of money to Star Force a few equips up. So for our last theme dungeon, we'll be doing Gold Beach. Gold Beach itself doesn't actually give that many good rewards. Its rewards are pretty standard when it comes to theme dungeons, gives you 1 mil as well. But the one reason why I do suggest new players do Gold Beach is because after completing Gold Beach, you'll be able to teleport back here anytime you want via the Maple Guide. And being able to go back to Gold Beach whenever you want is pretty handy because you can teleport to Six Paths Crossway by talking to Erwin on the left side of Gold Beach. And then from here, you can go to Pantheon. And then from Pantheon, you can go to just about anywhere in MapleStory. So I highly recommend new players do Gold Beach for this easy teleport, especially if you don't want to invest in buying a Hyper Teleport Rock. When it comes to MapleStory Reboot, a Hyper Teleport Rock is really important, but at the beginning you don't really have enough money, so I recommend doing Gold Beach just so then you can get a cheap way of getting around. As for the theme dungeon itself, it's pretty straightforward, like Rain Strait. Most of it is killing and picking up items, and once we complete it, you should be around level 61 to 62, maybe a little bit more depending on how many things you've killed along the way. And then from here, we can do our third job advancement. As you can see, I'm doing my third job advancement on my paladin. Just have to kill a clone of my instructor and bring back his drop. And that's just about everything I wanted to go through in this episode. Just pretty much my way of training from 0 to 60 on my new character. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did, please give it a like and subscribe for more. I plan on uploading on this channel quite regularly, and if you guys have any other questions or requests for content you guys want to see, please let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a good day.